How's the TV setup? You good? All right, so it's just about 6 o'clock unless you were still on standard time, like our clock on the wall, in which case it would be 7, but it's 6. And I'm gonna call the regular meeting to order. So first thing is to approve minutes from our last regular meeting, which was November 7th. We had a town plan public hearing with minutes from November 6th, and we had a special meeting with minutes also from November 6th. Does anybody want to move to approve them all?
So moved.
Second.
Does anybody have any comments, questions, discussion about any of those minutes?
Mine in. Fine.
They were good. So,
We have a town plan.
and we have a town plan. Yeah, it's kind of good. It's very good. All right, so all in favor of approving those 3 sets of minutes as written, please say aye.
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 1/3 aye.
Oh, you're only here for 1/3. Yeah, got it.
I was absent for 1 or 2 of those.
It's all right. You still read the minutes.
I got it. Look good to me.
Close enough. All right, so motion carries, and with at least a majority of 3, and then with some extras as, anyway, no nays. How's that? Next is set adjust agenda. I know we have one executive session on here. I need to add another one to update the board on some economic development loan contracts. So if that's all right with everybody. Okay. And I'll do that, we can do that as a 1, and we'll change the town manager contract to a 2. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Any other changes, updates? Could I have a motion to amend the agenda to include an economic development loan update?
So
executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. There we have our agenda. Next up is communication from the audience, which tonight we're a little bit light on the audience portion of our program. So we're going to move on to town manager report. Sean Fielder, give us an update.
Okay, so did recently do an update to the water and wastewater service applications. So this would be for anybody coming on to the public water or wastewater system, working with Alberta and Ken Lacasse on those. So getting those, the updates will be posted. Generally what's happening on those is we do an update about every year to match up generally with when we're doing any rate adjustments and things like this. So that's getting updated, related, reviewing various information on future water and wastewater projects, which would include, we have some water meters that we still have to get installed to close that project out. Tom and I talked about this week. We're getting our tally in order following the work this summer. And as we start to get into the budget planning season, we'll be talking about, what's the best strategy on this, and we'll be getting the input of the board, of course. With these that are hanging out there up to this time, it was, the general approach was, we'll finish these out over maybe 3 or 4 years, and, if there's a way we can maybe shorten that up, I think it behooves us to do that. So we're getting, trying to get toward 100% of our customers are metered, which is how we should be functioning as an enterprise business on the water and sewer operations. So we'll be talking about that. Doing a lot of work also with just, it's this whole capacity where we're at infrastructure-wise for our water system, our wastewater system. Everybody's aware that we are working on the Bridgman roof project. That's one of the things that are out there. So I've just mentioned the meters. I want everybody to be aware that we're doing ongoing work on the wastewater collection system, just checking the integrity of that. making improvements where we need to make improvements, with the end game being, making sure we're keeping up with this infrastructure and it's adequate to provide the service. So quite a bit going on there. With the roof project, I'll report a little bit further down on the next item, but what I would say on the water system also, I want the customers to know, those serviced by the village water system, that this, with the reservoir roof situation the way it was at Bridgman, we weren't in a position to do our so-called regular flushing procedure this spring, just because we were down to one of our reservoirs and it changed the hydraulics on the system a little bit. So the important point to note is, with the reservoir coming back online, we're going to be getting back to our schedule of a flush basically on the April break, when school's on the April break, and then back to a fall flush, so 2 times a year. Why I'm bringing this up is there may be times where we might experience a little bit of cloudy water. For example, in the winter, if we get a frost shift, that can sometimes happen. If anybody's having any issues, just what I would say for now is we recommend just to, let the cold run. Ideally, you could let the tub faucet run, so if you have a strainer or anything like this, you're not gumming it up in the event we have any issues. And, as I say, we get this reservoir back online, it gets us in a position to do a full-blown hydraulic flush this spring. All right, I'll switch subjects. Have assisted, Sherry's done a lot of work with, on behalf of NEK Arts for the townhouse, did an application with Historic Preservation for a grant opportunity to do improvements to fire escapes and also the roof system there. We're in a good position town-wise because we've been doing good capital planning on this. So why that's important is, for this particular grant, you get preference if you can show a decent in-kind match. So we're in a good position with our capital planning to show a good in-kind match. So I just wanted to bring that up and appreciate Sherry's work on processing this, and she had some help from other NEK Arts board members, so that was good. And then on the townhouse, we have buttoned it up for the season.
Is that right? Are we in already?
Yep.
It's in.
Yeah, it's
It was
gone.
due on Monday this week, and we
great.
should hear about it December 9th.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fast.
No 9-month pregnancy.
No, apparently they wanted to get it done this year, so it should, hopefully we'll get good news in a couple weeks.
We have had, the plumber has winterized the facility, so unfortunately shutting it down for the season. It's that time of year. But the good thing is, with the winterization work in the past, it was like an hour's worth of time and it's done. So, that work prior years of, we don't have to go through and absolutely drain everything is really helping us for this shutdown here this year. We do have all our town buildings back on a winter fuel delivery schedule, and our heat plants, we've been troubleshooting and just make sure everything's working right. This past couple weeks, for the cold weather that's upon us, everything's working fine there.
Oh, I have a question.
Yep.
About the townhouse heater. So in the past, the furnace needed to run, I think, in the winter, didn't it?
Not anymore.
No,
Didn't? I thought I went down
No.
there one time with John
Rod
and we
used
were worried
to
about it.
shut it completely down.
Okay. Oh,
and
maybe it was
drain
just-
And now, since last year, it's had the glycol in the
So
system.
you just shut it down?
So he just turns it off, and I
That's okay.
guess, for the
That's-
most
yeah.
part, and then he does the glycol in the bathrooms and the other
Oh, yeah.
plumbing.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's good, because it
Yep.
just makes for a
Makes it
quick
easier.
shutdown, and it's quick to bring it back online in the spring as well.
Yeah.
Okay, did host the state director from Congressman Welch's office, met with me briefly about a week and a half ago now. Her name's Rebecca Ellis, and just she was checking in and just wanted to get the update on the various activities that are occurring in town. We have various times where we're getting support from the congressional delegation, so it's good to have them just stop in once in a while and see what's happening. I know Eric and I did this recently with representative from Senator Sanders' office, so it's something that will sometimes happen in the community.
And this person also met with the library, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm sorry, I should have said that as well. Rebecca did also meet with the library, just to, the intent there is, how else can the delegation be supporting these projects in Hardwick? That's the basic spear point, if you will. The update on the Yellow Barn project is that we did get positive news that with Vermont Economic Development Authority, they have approved an interim financing request of just over $2 million. So that's very positive. We obviously have some other significant grant requests out right now with Economic Development Administration, and the Vermont Community Development Program Board. So the Yellowburn Planning Team met this morning actually, and we're at a point where we're just waiting to hear what happens on these other funding requests, and with the decisions in those areas made, then we know what we're doing for our next steps. And so everybody is aware. The real important and positive news that's coming out these past couple weeks, I guess I should say since November 7th, is that we've been talking about tenant number 2. We've known right along Jasper Hill Farms was involved with the project, but tenant number 2 is officially Cabot Cooperative Creamery, and they're committing to taking the retail space of the full Greensboro Garage lower level, and that's a pretty positive thing. So we're pleased to have these two folks working with us on this. So I don't know if you want to offer anything, Eric.
Just that Cabot seems to be really excited about having a presence in Hardwick, and they're also very interested in showcasing local items within there, which is good. We had a goal for part of the goal of this project was to create some sort of visitor center type thing where people could land in Hardwick and kind of get their bearings and then explore out. And we hadn't ever really figured out how we were going to make that happen until Cabot came along and said they would like to be here and do a store. And we're like, oh, great. So that's someplace people can stop on their way in, see some local stuff, and then we hope that some of those people are going to stop downtown, some of those people are going to go up to Greensboro, et cetera.
Head for East Hardwick, whatever it might be. Hit the rail trail.
Yeah.
It's going to be, there's a couple win-wins going on there.
So Eric, how long have you been working on this?
So I think it's been at least 3 years. It's been a while.
I think there's a huge congratulations in order here.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
Wait till we get funding.
$2 million is in funding.
We're waiting for 4 more.
Waiting for 4 more. Well,
Yeah.
I just, when I saw this, when I heard this, I just thought, this is wonderful. This is great.
It's been a group effort. It's taken a lot of work, and it's taken a lot of effort from our current town manager and our previous town manager and the Center for Agricultural Economy and any NVDA has been huge. Like, it's been this huge effort, and finally, it feels like we're finally getting some traction.
Right.
Yeah.
That it's going to happen. And
it's going to happen, and we hope.
I think it's
we see it
exciting.
being beneficial for the town.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, thank you.
Well, I will hold my congratulations then until we
All right, good.
have the other 4.
So we should be getting decisions on these other 2 grants just to close this out. Grant requests. One we'll know by next Friday, which is with the Vermont Community Development Program Board, and EDA has up until the mid part of December to weigh their decision. So we have our fingers crossed is I guess what I would say. Changing gears, as we know, we're into our budget planning processes, and we're doing quite a bit on this at town manager's office, town clerk's office, various departments, so appreciate everybody's involvement. I know in town manager's office, Casey and Amanda have been doing quite a bit on this. I know Alberta's here as well, so the town clerk's been involved on this, so we're getting good information at this phase, and obviously we'll be looking at budgets a little bit later tonight as one of the discussion points on the agenda, so we're in a good position. I already mentioned Bridgman Reservoir, but ongoing checks on that. We're at a watertight condition, if you will, on the project. What's effectively remaining is just some final closeout of this roof waterproofing cover, some repairs to the floor system that everybody's been advised on prior, setting up of our level controllers. At that phase, we're into our clean out and then the associated testing and what would be required to bring it back into service. As with the information at hand, we are still on schedule, as has been talked about, that we'll be bringing this thing back online in December. Obviously, the weather, we knew Halloween came and the weather changed, and that's what we're into, and we knew we were going to be pushing the envelope, but I've got my fingers crossed. We're still holding this December back online, and we're in a good position. And that's been the narrative since May.
So I poked my head.
Danny looks up. I mean, that's what it is.
I poked my head in there the other day.
Sure.
And and I saw that the roof membrane looked like it was watertight, and maybe the edges are not
The
trimmed
edges still
or
need to be
something.
strapped in. They're
Right.
waiting for the above day freezing to button it. above freezing day,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Is that tomorrow?
It may
Is it
be tomorrow. It might be tomorrow.
Today.
Yeah, there was a window today.
Pretty sure there was one pretty cautious.
Yeah, it's close yesterday. So my question is, on top, it looks like there are two like vent things.
Yeah.
Are they vents?
They're vents.
If the snow goes over the top, because they're like, what, 3 feet high or something?
They're
If you get-
watertight. They're watertight, and that's all you need.
So you don't have to shovel them out, they're
No.
okay?
Nah, they're watertight.
That was my question.
You should be good to go. Tom will get right up there and shovel them out. Don't worry about it.
You drive the bucket loader on.
You could drive the bucket loader on there. It might not be good for the rubber, but you could do it.
Good traction.
Let's see here, where was I? Yeah, thank you. Keep in contact with Vermont USDA office. You know, we have the various grants ongoing with that particular office, so just keep in contact with, okay, we're coming up on another round of community facilities grants, you know, like we did last year with LVRT. Can we get back in the game on this cycle? And the answer is yes, so we're sorting through some of that. I know at the last meeting, Eric had brought up, you know, we're at a point where we probably have to get some planning support monies to figure out what's gonna be the tactic with the town garage in that area. So I'm trying to match that up right now with, could we get a planning grant, whether it's, you know, I'm not sure which pot of money necessarily out of the USDA grants, but how can we help ourselves here? So we're investigating this. I am getting some additional information in order. I brought this up, I think, last meeting about doing the straightening of, you know, this concept of straightening a portion of the Bailey Hazen Road above East Hardwick where it intersects with Route 16. So I got to one of the landowners again today. I'm trying to get the other landowner that would directly be impacted, and what I've got to this point is they are definitely agreeable to straighten this. And let me just remind everybody, this would be valuable for traffic safety reasons, because if you come, it's a really sharp turn that we're talking about here. And I know, just honing in on our crew, when they do plow, they got to do a sweep back to the right to head back towards this direction, and they're literally having to go into the opposite lane to make that turn. And even cars are having to do this, nothing to do with our town equipment, but cars are having to do the same. So it's a pretty challenging intersection in that respect, and that's what has brought on this request. I have bounced this off the town attorney, and he said, look, next step, let's make sure the landowners are in the game, and then we start to go through the process of figuring out where the new road is, how it impacts, who owns what, how we survey it out, everything that would go along with that. And there would be a phase, given a rewriting, realignment of a road, you know, we would be into having to have a hearing on this, and, you know, assuming the select board's agreeable, that's what you'd be into. Big picture is trying to do some construction on this if everything's in place for summer 2020. Tom and I have looked at it, and it seems reasonable to do. But there's a lot of steps in there, of course. I have two quick things to button up here. I've had a number of business owners just follow up on the concept of how can we get the snow machines closer to the downtown village area. Hardwick I'm talking about now, of course. You know, I did remind these folks that, look, we had a report on this at the October Select Board meeting, and basically the narrative there was it's not necessarily a quick fix, and it has to do with just the geography of downtown, and it has to do with where the existing trail network goes. And we know at this level it would be, you know, if we could do it, we would try, but just, I guess the main point I would make is, you know, we're still getting some asks from some of the business owners about how can we do it.
So I went down and looked at it today.
Sure.
And there's no way we're gonna come off the roadbed unless we come off where we used to.
Sure.
Because we own like 145 feet of town from the bridge abutment.
Yep.
But it's,
Steep and drops, right?
and it drops right into a brook.
Sure.
And it's,
That's down at this
and
bridge.
it's wet from the brook to, yeah, so
Danny,
there's no way.
where's the old point that it was?
It's up right where it turns off the rail and the snowmobile trail goes up over the hill. We used to go right down right there.
Right where the.
But that comes around on Ned's property.
Sure.
And left right near where there's the trail closed sign is or was where,
Yeah.
you guys work, you know, where that the cribbing was,
Right on the
so
corner.
right near there.
Yeah. And there's really
There's no other,
there's no other way, you know, the only other option is to right here, you know, to here.
so that's easy, right? You can
It
get
is,
people to
but
here,
people, you know, it's just.
but then you'd have to walk.
Yes, snowmobilers aren't really, I mean,
walk.
it's already a stretch coming across the bridge, but at least they can see their stuff.
I didn't have the answer, but I just wanted the select
Yeah,
board to know
well,
that,
I
we had a
thought-
couple other questions. Danny and I talked about it briefly this morning, and I was like, I don't know what to do on this
There
one.
really is
so-
only one option,
Sure.
so.
Yeah, and we talked to the club representative as well about, if there's a way the club can help with some communications, potentially opening up. That's one of the other things we're kind of working on a little bit here too. So for now, I mean, it seems to me, it's this narrative that Danny's honed in on, which he already reported in October, and that is, there is not an easy way to do it as of now. So I think we really need to say at this point, don't necessarily anticipate we're gonna be able to get everybody right to the downtown area this season. I mean, that shouldn't be assumed. We're trying to figure it out, but it can't happen overnight. Is that fair to say, Danny? I mean, that's basically what's been
I would
said.
rather them say it's not gonna happen this year.
Yep.
And if we work hard, we might be able to figure something out for next year.
Okay, so that's it. I wanted to follow up on that. Then the last thing is that, I'm over my time, I know. We do have an opening. John Lange did officially step away from the animal control officer position due to health reasons, and I'll reiterate this. We appreciate John's given many years of service in this role, so I want to say thank you to John for his service. We're at a point now where we're going to be putting an ad out in the near future. Anticipate that being on the website, on Front Porch Forum. We would put it up in the Gazette as well, that we do need an animal control individual. We're calling it an interim position just because it would be filling out through town meeting time.
Is that elected?
It's appointed by the select board. You're appointed by the select board. So we'll have the details in there. There is a small stipend that is offered. Hopefully we can get somebody from the community to assist us moving forward. And in the short term, and until we get the position filled, in the event any citizens do have any issues with animals and, they need some kind of support, just be in touch with the police department, and they're taking the calls now to make sure that, we're getting the customer service side of this taken care of.
Well, primarily that's dogs,
That's what I mean to say. Not skunks.
not skunks or other wild
Sorry, I
animals.
had to go there.
Or cats that are looking for someplace to live.
Well, game word for those, right?
No,
No, apparently not.
I had to go there, sorry.
Yeah,
That's all I got.
thank you.
Best answer we've got so far.
Yeah,
Big game only with the game word.
yeah,
Skunk is not big game.
elk and reindeer and, and not skunk, apparently. All right, next up, Tom Fadden. Tell us about what happens in your department this past couple weeks.
Tile sanding, salting, water main break, banners, Christmas lights, that's it.
Water main break, how was that?
Wet.
Yeah,
No, I was down at the sewer plant Kenny's been having a small leak down there, so we decided we'd try to isolate it. So we did, and then when we did, we made it a gusher afterwards by turning things back on, so we didn't have really a choice last Thursday, so we commenced to digging, and it was a mess, so. But we ended up getting it fixed Friday morning, about 6 o'clock, so.
It was just impacting the water service for the wastewater facility, to be clear, so it wouldn't have caused any issues for other customers.
one of those things that would have been nicer if it had happened in the summer.
Yes.
Better than January, as far as I'm concerned.
But there was so much stuff in that ground, we just couldn't dig down past the water main to get to it. So we actually called in Menage there with their Vector truck, and they came up and actually started sucking the dirt all the way around the pipe and stuff for us. So it worked awesome. So, it was a mess. There was fuel lines running by, there was alum lines, there's a power line, and there's telephone line, and there was another line.
You
So,
didn't want to dig right through?
I was to the point where one of them I wanted to just rip off, and to get it out of the way so I could actually dig down past the water main, so we could actually fix it that day.
And that's when you decided to stop?
Yeah, it started getting frustrating,
Was
so.
that before or after you realized you had the wrong size clamp?
Yeah, that too, that didn't go well, so, but yeah, besides that, I mean, that's basically all we've been doing, besides keeping up maintenance on trucks, of course, every time we go out, something breaks, so, and I'm still waiting for my putt, or the new one, so, ain't got that yet, so we're still down a truck, so,
And order.
Which is going to dramatically shorten up the life of that F-250.
yes,
Because that truck wasn't intended to plow with. I understand you have to,
oh
but
yeah,
we're gonna,
but for the freezing rain and stuff, people probably noticed that we didn't get to the side streets in town, because we are down a truck, So,
What I noticed was that the Hardwick streets seem to be ahead of the state highways.
sometimes, yep.
Yeah.
Not always. I mean, when the wind's blowing and, late at night and stuff, we try to maintain downtown. When the wind's blowing up that way, we don't put salt down at all. I know we had somebody up there complaining about on Facebook and stuff. We keep track, bitching how bad of a sucky job we do up through there and everything else, so. It's never ending, so. but-
Well, so far so good, I would say.
So far, so good, yes.
Yeah.
So, but supposedly, I don't know, they said I should have my truck tomorrow. I'm not holding my breath about it, so.
And did we get an order placed for a new truck
For the other one, yep.
that we're hoping to get next summer?
Next July, hopefully. Good.
Thank you.
But that's it.
All right, and police department report is gonna be short tonight,
I got nothing.
okay?
Checked in with Aaron and I said, you got anything in particular I should pass along? And the response was, nothing in particular that should be passed along.
So just the regular,
And apparently he has not bagged a deer yet, so otherwise he would be here. Okay?
all right, so we'll hear about it next time. Tonight, we do have a Hardwick Electric report, so Nate,
On behalf of the Hardwick Electric, I'll read a few notes and answer any questions. So finances are in excellent shape. Year-to-date revenues 0.83% above budget. Expenses 5% under budget. The Halloween storm.
Place over there.
Huh?
it is,
That's a nice place over there.
So far, the Halloween storm that provided a good bit of overtime. Hit pretty hard with the major road washout, as you probably know, on North Walker Road. The rains also washed out a major transmission line that comes in from Morrisville near Route 15. The state actually repairs that line. Our crews worked crazy long hours for about 2 days, way into the night and then back out at 5:30 in the morning. I think that most areas got their power back within about 6 hours, but there were some parts, particularly in Craftsbury, that were a good bit longer. The construction project at the Hardwick Electric office across the street is about complete. New insulation, new siding, new and enlarged entrance, and a parking site improvements. The office supervisor, Deb Lawson, has announced that she will be retiring this winter after 23 years of cheerfully helping our customers.
that's a lot of years.
That's a lot of years, and we'll miss her. The H11 solar project that will go in at the end of Billings Road, we hope next summer, is on schedule. Paperwork is flying all over the place. We cross our fingers and we think it will get going soon. That's it.
Any questions for Nat while he's here? Thank you, Nat. I really appreciate you coming in and sharing with us. All right. Excellent.
See you later.
I'd be like that. It's good to see you.
All right. Next is item number 1, which is budgets.
And we're 20 minutes ahead.
I know, and Sean was apologizing for getting us behind, and now we've leapfrogged.
Gonna give me a hard time. It took too much time.
Well, is it always my fault?
All right. So I don't think I want to look at that, right? Easier to follow on the thing. Are you happy where you're sitting, Danny?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking. Not that I'm gonna trade with you, but.
When it all goes bad, it's gonna be your fault. I'm gonna say, I didn't see it.
Plausible deniability? I don't know.
Yeah.
Not that plausible.
Okay, so you have all these worksheets in your packets, and
Yeah.
I sent them out on Monday.
Yep.
We're actually gonna start with highway first. So I'll skip to the bottom first, and we'll go back up. So it's showing a total increase of 3.05 overall. And actually, I'm gonna start from, I think we're gonna go backwards. So, I guess topics for discussion, I've went over this with Tom. The one comment I guess I made was that, wondering if salt really, if that's enough, given, what we spent last year and we've already had how many loads of salt? 4, I think, and we're not even to December, so. Oh, okay. I think I've paid.
10?
I think I've paid 5 invoices at least. So, just wondering if we should hope for the best, or should we really put that up like another 10,000, maybe like 95,000?
So I thought last time Tom or Casey, one of you, said that the price per ton came down this year.
It stayed the same.
Stayed the same.
Last year, it jumped up over, I think it was $10 or $11 a ton. So just at the beginning of the year, we were already $15,000 over budget, but just at a regular use last year, so.
Okay, so the price per ton is still $10 or $11 a ton this year? And last year we spent 102 and we're budgeting 85 for next year?
Seems like we should add to that.
We kind of budgeted the same amount as, I guess it was a long winter last year, but it seems like we're gonna.
That's what I'm saying. We've
starting
already
up
had
early
a
again.
lot
We're
of
starting- yeah,
ice
well, first
before we haven't
September.
even hit December yet. So
Right, but if we do 1,000 tons, that only gives us, that's $80,000 more.
it's just, yeah, I mean, I guess that was the only thing is, do we think that's adequate or should it be higher? I mean,
So, I mean, I think that we could either say, if we're spreading the same amount of salt, that number needs to go up, or if we're gonna do like a salt reduction, then maybe that's okay, but if we're not changing our practices at all,
Well,
It needs to go up.
yeah, right.
the 82,000 that we budgeted
For
last
this-
year was for.
This, what we're
the
right
price.
now.
No, wasn't right, but it was for the price before the increase.
Yes,
So the difference in the number is not different usage, it's difference in the price increase.
But the
Yeah.
price is the same, so.
That's what I'm saying, so this year it's gonna be closer to 102 than it is 82.
Seems like we
correct.
should be budgeting.
That's why I'm saying,
Well, it depends on the weather, Dan. Last year, like I said, I mean, of course, you're trying to guess what it was, and we were guessing that it was gonna be it was 60 some odd dollars, I think, the year before. And then last year, it jumped all the way up to 79 or $81 a ton, which nobody was expecting that. So
Right,
we were
and so
totally
now
over
it's still
budget.
that price.
Right, I mean, we base our winter on $1,000 or 1,000 ton a year.
So how much more sand do you think you spread last year just because it was an abnormal winter?
We cut back on sand last year, we had to.
So I'm sorry, not sand, I mean salt.
Salt, we didn't cut back on.
So, but you spread more than usual winter, or you spread
Yeah,
about the same as?
No, we definitely spread more last year. Because I think last year, we were up somewhere around 1,200 ton.
None of this
What do
really
you
has
know-
anything to do with this year though.
Well, you never know.
Right.
But what I'm getting at
of
is
course,
that.
we're looking at a year from now, so.
but you're wondering if it's an unusually high salt year
Right.
Unless the.
last year.
Yeah, so it seems like we should be budgeting for an
Magically
average
drops,
year with the current salt prices, or if we think they're gonna go up.
Right, and that's what we
maybe
go
more,
by.
so
We
it
go
should
by,
down.
if it's an average year, about 1,000 ton. Which right now, I think we're paying a little over $80 a ton.
So 85,000 is good, what you're saying.
Well, if it's a regular season.
But you're saying the difference between 85 and 102,000 was because that was the winter, that was.
Yes, last year,
That
it
was-
started in November and didn't stop.
You guys know the new normal is we're gonna have more freezing rain events, so.
So, I'm not opposed, if you wanna jack that up.
It's
I'm-
I
already
don't
not
care.
a regular
You
season.
gotta pay it
this
either
year,
way.
so.
So, okay, so we can come back to that, but,
So I have a question about the
I don't want
numbers
to spend all
here.
night on this one topic.
Casey, if we go down to summer gravel, and you look across the chart, it says budgeted was 35,000 and proposed budget is 35,000. So the difference is 0, so the difference in percentage is 0. But when you look right below that at ditch stone, it's 8,000 budgeted, 8,000 proposed, difference 0, but it's 100% difference.
There, it's just a formula, it's all set.
But don't all the formulas add up to that bottom formula?
Right, so that would change that a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
But there's another one right below that. I'm just wondering how many of those there are.
No, I think that's fine.
Go up one.
But you see what I'm saying? Because I thought your
Yeah,
bottom percentage number all out of whack.
It doesn't, because
Oh, no, 'cause it's
the
just doing it
percent,
to-
the
just
form,
calculating it.
it doesn't
Off the
change
dollar
that.
amount?
E51 and C50.
Because,
She's doing it off the row totals.
Right,
at the bottom.
right, all right, so that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
As long as
That's
it's on
correct.
each acre.
Moving forward, just to make sure it's.
Right, which is exactly the way it should be, I agree.
So going back to the salt, it seems like, so that seems like it's an amount for an average year, so then it's for us to figure out if we want to bump it up, assuming that we're going to have non-average
This
years?
is
Or
29,000.
get more, or if we want to just leave it?
Right, that's exactly right.
Right.
So it feels like this year, already our 82,000 is probably, if we continue in the current trajectory, or it's insufficient.
We're gonna be,
It's already low.
Split the difference, maybe?
I
You
guess
just
that's
had
two
a salt shed.
conversations going here, we need one
You
conversation.
just had a salt shed so small. When I get down a couple loads, I automatically order 2 more loads. It's not that we're low, I still have like 3 loads in there. So just as soon as I go through 2, I order 2 off right off the bat.
Yeah, but doesn't this, I mean, it seems a little early that you already have used so much.
Well, it takes
salt,
5
it's been
loads,
cold.
well, it takes 5 loads of salt to fill that shed up.
Yeah,
Okay, so technically, you know, if you wanna go there, I mean, I've probably only been through like 4 loads of salt so far.
oh, you said you'd ordered 10,
I did,
Right,
but
because
5
you had
loads to
5.
fill it.
yeah,
I keep 3 in there just for
Yeah.
backup, so I don't count those 5 loads, cause I need that to fill the shed up. Okay?
okay,
Because you're
So-
starting from scratch.
Right, I start from scratch.
okay.
Yeah.
But still, it seems like there's been more salt, it's early to start salting,
all night.
yeah.
How
What do you
much
need
does
for
5
salt?
loads
Just
cost?
tell us.
If we need
Doesn't
5
matter.
extra loads, how much does that cost?
5,000 bucks.
It's a gamble.
Yeah, we don't know what the winter's going to be.
Maybe we should put it in there.
I mean, winter could stop next month.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, not likely. You know.
So, let's leave it for now. Are people okay to leave it for now?
For now.
And see where we come out later, and I mean, my inclination would be.
See how big the storm is the next time we meet.
it would-
That's gonna be
I mean, my inclination would be to just bump it to 90, to add 5 grand to that, and,
What if we don't spend it?
If we don't spend it, hurrah.
Oh, right, that's what I'm thinking. It's
so,
better than having to pay it out of the,
out of some other line.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's try, okay, so for right now, let's throw another 5 grand in there and make it 90. Is that all right with you, Tom?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, we don't know.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, we've always tried to look at an average year, 1,000 ton, and, you know, this
Although it
is what
seems,
it's gonna be.
so it's pretty, it seems unlikely that the price of salt is gonna plummet next year.
Yeah, it never goes back down, does it?
Yes, it does.
And,
Really?
it has-
Once in a great while, it will either hold or then it will drop a couple dollars a ton, and
But it's not-
then all of a sudden, within a couple of years, that thing will jump up $10, $11 a ton like it
Huh.
did to us last year.
What kind of salt is it? Is it mine salt?
They just mine salt, yeah.
Where do they mine it?
Oh, the stuff we're getting, I think, comes out of Canada.
All right, enough about the salt people. I got a question about
Pepper.
contract mowing. It was 6,000 this year, and we budgeted 5,000. And I also got the brush cutting, we spent 1,900 on this year, thank goodness, but we're not putting anything else in there for that either, so.
That's in
Because that's in
capital.
capital,
The brush cutting is in.
most of the, like, the
So,
contracted brush cutting is in capital.
But what is it in here then?
Because there were a few expenses, like just,
they're like hand brush cutting and stuff,
yes,
not fender brush.
but the, right,
Okay,
Oh, that are in here.
cool. But
that
so
were
why-
last year, but
So
we're
why
not
is the contract
budgeting.
mowing in here and not where the
Yeah.
brush cutting would be?
Say that again, I'm sorry?
The contract mowing is in this one, and that's the same thing as the contract brush cutting, right?
That's always been in,
Yeah, we kept those separate in.
Yeah, but conceptually, they're kind of the
Yeah,
same
but they're
thing.
the same thing.
Like if one's capital, they're
Especially
both,
if you're hiring the same vendor.
if one's capital, they're both capital, or if one's, if one's just annual budget, it's, then it's just part of the annual budget, whatever.
You're just talking about organization on
Yes.
that one.
Yes. And, so I don't like brush cutting being in capital.
Because it's
Because
an
it
annual
doesn't say,
expense.
yeah, it doesn't- so we don't, how much did we spend brush cutting this year?
I think we're a little over 4, I think, burned in.
I don't know.
Right. No, I hear you.
I
It's
mean, we
more,
got
it's
eight-
more,
It's just, they're just two, they're the same thing, and they should be in the same
they
spot.
should be
and
together.
the same
No, I
way.
agree.
It doesn't matter to me either way.
So the brush cutting is also that, like what they do on Macville Road, that'd be brush cutting, even though they're using the flail mower?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, if anything, we'd probably take the brush cutting out of capital and move it into the regular budget then.
Probably be better, I would think, right?
Well,
Although we've got.
we put brush cutting in the capital so we could save money towards brush cutting. Because we were only putting away $2,000 a year.
Right.
For roadside cutting.
Right.
That's
So-
why we ended
Yep.
up taking it out of here and moving it into capital.
But I don't know.
Oh, so we were gonna
exactly
save
what
up
we're
over a
saving
couple
up.
years
And we don't
and
have
then
to
do it.
save
So
up
if that
for
brush cutting goes in
mowing.
here, we only put $2,000 in there. We, you know, what are you
Can't
gonna do?
do very
for
much.
$2,000, it's gonna be gone.
Right,
And
but
then
we
we'll
had
bring it back.
8,500 and we only spent 4, so it means we got 4,500 in there. And we're putting 5 grand a year in. So I don't understand what the difference would be is if you just moved it into the line item and put that amount of money in there. We're putting $5,000 a year in it, in capital, just make it a budget item of $5,000.
Well, then you can't carry it over.
No, but we would cut brush.
I see what you're getting at.
See how that works?
Right, but if you, I guess you're thinking like, you can better cut it in a big lump. But, I see what you're saying though, because we didn't use even 5,000.
Next year, we would have 9,500, we'd cut some brush, and then after that, the year after that, we'd have 5 grand. And the year
Yeah.
after that, 5 grand, just like we do contract mowing. And you do that much,
Yeah.
and you get it done, and you keep up with it.
What Danny's saying is he does want to spend that every year.
Right, I'm
Well,
getting that.
you know, you're
Right.
talking about things
have
that
to.
grow, it grows, it comes back, it grows, and if we can stay on it, we won't have to have the big ugly flail mower that does make a mess.
I
mean,
like
if you
that,
keep
though.
that, well, I do too, but I'm that way. My
do.
point is,
I
you'd
kinda like
still
it.
use the same mower, but you'd be cutting stuff this big, and you do 5 times as much every year.
Yeah.
You go faster, you go smoother, you go quicker. So, it's just the way it works. It's a maintenance thing. Maintenance
All right.
things mean you have to do them repetitively.
So we could totally put 5 grand into brush cutting here and drop our contribution
For
on
next
the-
year, we got 4,500 saved up.
Right, that'll still be there, but what we could,
Just switch over? No, we can't. We gotta do one or the other.
yeah, no, we could switch, right? Oh, no, wait, what are we, hang on. You said we were putting 5 grand. Oh, yeah, we are putting 5 grand in
In the
this.
capital every year, so that's same thing.
So we
as having it
could,
in here.
instead of putting in the capital, we could zero out those lines.
And so 5 grand is a big enough chunk on its own to do that amount.
Sounds like that's a
Every
good
year.
chunk every year.
Well, like,
Every year.
this year
Well,
we
ended
did
up doing Macville for, God, I want to say it was like 45 or 46, something like
Right.
that.
So we could do that much every year.
Basically.
Well, next year we could do almost twice that much.
Right, next year do twice that much, and then,
Well, they're not done yet. I mean, they just ended up fixing their mower, and that's still up to East Hardwick. They plan on doing.
yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Use the money that's in the front and then
Hardwick
budget
Street,
$5,000 in this year.
Get done every.
And that, we're trying to spend that
Because
every
then
year
we'd
on
spend
brush
the rest of
cutting.
it next summer.
Yep,
The rest of the capital next summer, which
Yeah.
would be 4,500-ish or whatever, 4,000, something. And then this year,
Yep.
the next year, we will have 5,000 in this budget.
Yep, yep.
In our operational budget to do it.
I like it.
Is it listed in the capital budget because of the carryover from previous years where you might have been going the strategy of, we're gonna buy a chipper, and we don't do that anymore?
No, I think it's what Tom was saying, was that
Save up enough.
because we were only,
To
we
get a
weren't
good-
putting
good
in,
wad.
previously, we weren't, Tom's saying we were
previous
only
one, two.
putting in 2, and it wasn't enough to do it.
And then we decided we need to step it up, and now.
So we stepped it up here, but it doesn't matter if if we're putting in 5 grand, that's enough to actually do something, we can move it back to the regular budget.
And get used to doing 5 grand worth every year,
Yeah.
regardless.
Yep,
Yeah, I like that idea.
So does cell D15 get adjusted right here? Is that the adjustment? That was probably one she's hovering on right now.
correct. So we're gonna put 5 grand in there, and then we're gonna take it out of the Public Works capital, so we're not contributing that over there. Right?
Right. And just run that balance out next summer,
Yeah,
that we'll have in there in this budget anyway. whatever's in there now is the balance to run out
Right.
next year.
Yeah, it's a good time to get done. There's about 9 grand then to cut with next year,
Right,
somewhere around there.
right. So you could do about twice what they did this year, roughly.
Well, probably about the same.
Okay,
Because like I said, they're still planning on going over, they're over the east Hardwick right now, they're doing Hardwick Street.
oh, they're still going?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
No, I went up to Mattville, it looked good, I mean, it is what it is, but it won't look like that if you do it every 3 years or whatever, so every 10.
Right.
Good job.
Yep.
Now we're moving.
Okay. I think that's good.
Tommy, I see we spent a lot on storm drains. I mean, is that something that, I know you had some big problems where we had to have a big truck up here this year, but that's not something that happens.
No, because that was part of
storm drain
the,
is
that
the
was part of the
duck
grant
bill.
too, I believe, weren't it?
The storm drain, like $7,500 of that was the duck bill project.
Oh, yeah.
And we got reimbursed for
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So it
right.
was
I see.
actually
Cool.
about 3,500 is
That's way
what that
better.
category was.
Okay.
Any other questions about any of this? That brings the total bottom line for this category to 4.16.
Yep.
Well, actually, I mean, following Danny's logic, this East Hardwick sidewalks,
Yep.
you know, you've got $600 in this, in the highway department budget, but you've also got a sidewalks line under capital.
So East Hardwick sidewalks is for snow clearing and
Yes,
stuff like
snow
that?
clearing.
And up here, this is like snow clearing, and the other one is for actually
For
building
construction.
sidewalk.
Yes.
Yep.
Line painting and crosswalks, didn't we want to try to do something new or different with the crosswalks so that,
Twice,
because they're
doing
worn
twice?
off again by the,
Yeah.
we
I
need
think
to,
old man Winter got us on that one.
Yeah, so we decided that the more expensive things that we've tried didn't hold up any better, right?
Right.
And so our thing was, what if we paint them twice a year instead of once?
Yes.
Which would, one assumes, require twice as much money.
Right.
yeah.
Is that right?
Do we need to up?
Correct?
A Tom question.
Tom?
Yes.
Because most of that money's paint, right? That $1,000?
If we were to decide to use that new, like green paint or whatever, does it cost more still, or?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's gonna hold up any better than,
I don't know if it does well or not.
you know what I did see in Morrisville, has anybody been down Bridge Street, Morrisville? See
Yeah.
the flashing pedestrian sign?
Yeah, they have one in Montpelier too.
I'm not saying everyone on Main Street, but maybe one, and maybe just, this is the time of year where there's a lot of traffic down
Yeah.
there between 4:30 and 7.
And people think they can see.
And people
dark.
think you can see, and visibility is wretched.
Yes.
But I did go down, isn't it Bridge Street? Right there in front of,
Yeah, I think you're right, yeah.
yeah, in front of the town
Yeah.
offices there, whatever. They got a pedestrian sign that's got flashing lights on it.
Yeah.
Right, and you have to go up and press the button for it to trip.
No, I think it flashes,
Oh, it just flashes?
yeah.
'Cause they also
The
have-
button would be a good way to
The one
go.
in Montpelier, you have to press a button to get it to flash.
So it only flashes
It
when
might have,
somebody's
maybe,
there.
maybe I was looking at the lights and didn't see.
Well, no, they have some there that, you know, once you get up to them, there's like a little beam that goes across.
So as long as it's traffic.
You know, it's
I don't know.
it's more money.
But
But
I'm just
the,
scared of paint, if we put more paint on the ground, we're gonna end up with the same results. It's gonna be,
Yeah, I
Well,
feel like,
just putting more of it, when you do the green thing, you just put a lot more of it, so.
the Traffic and Pedestrian Safety Task Force is still working on pulling together a recommendation from our investigations, we'll say, research. But those flashing lights, we do know somewhere, like a basic amount that they tend to cost, and maybe we want to build that in. They're like $3,500.
3,500 for one of those, is what you told me, I think, in the spring, does that sound right? For one?
They're
38.
25 or 2,800, something like that, for the solar,
Okay,
That
solar
we
powered
can
ones.
check, we can cross-check that, of course. The solar powered one you're
we
talking about?
probably
Yeah.
want to do one.
We'd have, I
Start
think that
one
we probably
crosswalk.
would, yeah, we'd start with recommending one to try to
See how it
see
goes.
if it helps, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
could put it, so I don't
Yeah.
know if this is the line that expense would go into, or whether it would be road signs, I don't know.
To me, that seems like more of a capital item because it's
Probably
something that's
would.
gonna last a long time.
Right?
And something that if we buy,
So is it in
One-
capital road signs then?
because if we buy, it's the kind of thing where we might wanna put it in there and then, because if we buy one, we might wanna be saving to buy another one with the anticipation that'll work. Like another place I think of is by Poolins. I think that sidewalk
Yeah.
crossing down there is
Yeah.
awful.
Coming off the
It
bridge.
is pretty bad.
Yeah, by
No, not
Poolins.
the bridge, the one.
That one's really bad too.
Right.
Way down by Poolins.
Coming off the
That
bridge is
little
awful.
street,
They're all terrible.
It's unexpected place
Yeah.
in the road.
At least the one by the bridge, there's an intersection.
We're gonna move the village gate.
So if it was in the capital, then it'd be under road signs, yes? And so we've, in the past, or at least last year, we didn't put anything in there. So maybe we should change that.
Right, because those road signs, I think, were from when we were swapping to the new bigger letters, right?
Right.
But we
so-
could reuse that category for,
Have we completed that project?
Nope.
Not yet. So we still,
but there's still some money in there.
So you're suggesting we put in like $3,500 for flashing pedestrian?
Well, we would,
yeah, I don't know.
I would say we wouldn't have to because there's already money in that line
Yeah,
item
but if
and,
it's not finished, then it's.
well, but if we
spoken for,
just,
no?
yeah, but we could contribute, I mean, the nice thing about the capital budgets is you could put one, yes, there you go, you put $2,000 in there, it's starting to grow.
So let's put 2,000 back in there, you say?
And for, we just did, yeah.
Just did.
Yep.
Do it.
Is that good?
Yeah, I think so.
And then we also bumped up the paint, thinking that we'll do more paint and we'll just see how that goes. I'm about burned out on trying new paint schemes because I feel like every one we tried is,
It doesn't
failed.
seem like,
it's not an improvement.
7,000 cars a day, so
yeah, they're not looking at the.
a lot
Right.
of traffic.
And it just doesn't seem to, like, it seems, everything seems like a good idea, right? Like you put down that stuff that you lay down with a flamethrower, boy, that seems like that's good and thick and that'll last and it doesn't. And, or you grind the pavement down to have it be a little lower, well, that ought to work and it didn't. And so you
Paint
just
it twice a year.
paint them twice a year. All right.
Cheap paint,
Well, it's not that cheap.
or no, the least,
It's that-
yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
not
it's
the
cheaper than
raised-
everything else.
Not the raised.
Appropriate paint.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna start with highway for now.
For now, highways.
Okay, I'm gonna move
Moving on.
to the police department.
This is easy, Aaron's not here. Cut it by 2% and that makes up for what we just did on the highway.
Okay,
It's
next.
already 2% now.
Well,
Oh, it's already coming
Better
down.
do more, he's not here.
so,
Got rid of the canine.
That's right.
okay, overtime went up. He was reviewing the required trainings for the officers, and that's why we went up on that, because a lot of that would be coming in as overtime to complete the mandatory hours of training. A lot of this stuff went down, like health insurance and such, and it's just the mix that we have in terms of family versus single plans.
Yeah.
That's changed, and I guess,
The hard thing about that is that can change the other way just as quickly.
oh yeah, of course, but, we did budget for, of course, we have the vacant officer.
Right.
We budgeted for a family plan for that
Okay.
officer, and so we'll have some leeway there.
Okay.
But yes, we have some, people that don't take the insurance and such, so yeah, it's in our favor this time around.
It just hurts when it bounces the other way. It's nice,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that figure's highlighted because I need to change that actually because it's less. We had a couple insurance, it's actually like 79.21, so I'll just take that off then. So,
There's some pending legal expenses.
where's that?
It goes from $53 to $1,000.
No, it's just, that's what was actually spent. We budgeted 1,000 and we're keeping that amount.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that just, we didn't.
That's why it's zero, I see, on the other
Yeah.
side.
yeah.
If we're gaining a new cruiser, I guess that wouldn't help us a lot on that vehicle maintenance line, because we still have the other ones in the fleet.
Right, and
Right.
we're just,
Yeah, but-
they're still in the regular,
There's the regular, yeah.
they're the regular replacement schedule that we think is optimal.
So
Kind of like
overall,
Tom's trucks. We think those are optimal too, but they never seem to be running.
Not all at one
Oh, well, not
time.
all of them, right?
Right.
for 2021, the PD is not going to be participating in the SIU program, which is why the expenses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd rather have Aaron explain that to you, but it's become, I guess I'd rather have him explain the reason why they're not gonna participate, because you'll see that on the revenue side, because we're gonna lose revenue because of that, but
What is the SIU program on?
Special Investigations Unit that our detective does with the Caledonia County State's Attorney's Office.
All right, let's
So
just
it-
move on then, Aaron.
Yep, so the overall budget for PD is down 1.85 in this draft. Let's go to office and payroll. So just regular, typical increases, health insurance is just change in plans. Nothing else too big. New phone system I'm noting here. So it turns out we're not gonna be able to get that right now because we're actually in a contract with Fairpoint until May of 2020. And the early termination is quite large. It's like basically your monthly fees times every month that you get out early. So it's substantial. So we're gonna have to wait, and we'll give them the 60-day notice that we're required to. And then it's looking like it probably isn't gonna happen until May or June of 2020.
So,
That's what we anticipate for with our new phone system. We're looking at 3 different options. So that's where that comes from.
so the new, help me a little bit on that. So, the new phone system is gonna cost, so are we wrapping a one-time cost into that 3,500 for next year?
No,
Or are we expecting that the new phone system is gonna cost $1,000 more a year to
Yeah.
run than the current? And then in that
Yes.
case, why are we changing?
Because our system's 17 years old and we need a new phone system.
So this is the actual, like, the handsets and that
The
sort of thing?
phones and the service, yes, because you basically are leasing the phones from these companies. You don't buy, like, they don't sell you a phone system. I mean, you can. One of the options was, it was like $12,000 to get all the phones, but the other ones.
Don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So
Well, and that's
it's
what
the
we have
monthly.
currently,
Yeah.
is we own our
Yeah,
own phones,
yeah.
and they're broken
These-
and we can't get
I was gonna say, if we're leasing them, why don't we give them back?
Yeah.
We're not leasing them.
We're not leasing them currently,
Right,
no. We
so,
bought the plans,
right,
so.
and so this is the
see.
monthly fees, and I mean, this also includes, we'll have fax service with this, and this is, so it could be a little bit less than that possibly, because we're having highway, sewer, library, but theirs will all be separate. They'll pay out of their own budget, I'm saying, like, they're all gonna get the new phones. There'll be one at the highway garage, there'll be one at the sewer plant, but they're gonna pay, this should be our portion of it.
So the whole system actually costs more than this, but this is the amount that the office expense is going to absorb.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Just education, looking at, several classes, so went up on that, and what else then? 2020, well, next fall will be an election year, so, we needed to go up on election official expense. You're gonna notice here Lister's salary is way down. And that's because further down,
Where's the assessor?
it's actually gonna be in the line items. The assessor will be in the line items, so there's a big decrease here. The flip side, the line items have gone up, and you'll see that when we get there.
Why do we have that in line items instead of here?
Because it's not really a payroll, we pay them through it's a contract with accounts
is it?
payable. It's not
Professional services.
something we do through payroll.
It's a lump sum
Correct,
quarterly or something. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
These are payroll.
Okay.
Payroll, part-time, and
Is that why it says
elected.
payroll at the top?
Payroll, part-time, and elected, so it really,
Glasses are working out good.
Yeah. Okay, got it. As far as we know, I mean, everything's working out okay in the lister assessor front?
Yes, they have actually set a, schedule now where that the assessor is here every other Wednesday, or the first and third Wednesdays of each month. And the listers are doing at least one where they have posted office hours every Tuesday. I think it's 9 to noon that they've posted, so we've got some specific hours, plus they come in at other times, but those are the ones that, you know, you can count on them being here, so that if someone needs to come in and talk to them directly, they can. So
is that every Tuesday from 9 to 12?
it's supposed to be every Tuesday from 9 to 12.
Okay.
And forward, yep.
Okay, so that's that, and so overall, it's down the 21% estimated. I'm gonna go right to fire and line items. at this-
21% sounds big, but on that budget, it's not a
Right,
very big
right.
dollar amount.
Yeah, so then I'm gonna come to fire and line items. So fire department, pretty consistent, just a little bit of change in their liability insurance expectation. And so
That's nice.
that's $1,000 difference from last year.
Yeah.
Then we come to line items. I have fireworks highlighted because we, of course, do the, we have typically done 3,000 for the Memorial Day fireworks. We did get notice from the company that does the fireworks saying that if we want the same amount of, same quality, we're gonna have to increase our budget because their insurance, their permits, all their costs have gone up. And so I just put that in there to see if that's something that the board wants to entertain and go up a little bit on that. It shows 4,000 spent, but keep in mind, we also get donations from people, so that's why it's that. I mean, the town only spent the 3,000 that was allocated. But, so that's if you want to do that, that was an option.
I'm kind of fireworks agnostic, so I'd let others chime in.
I think it's a
They
good
did
thing
it in the
to do.
afternoon before I went to sleep, it'd be better.
In my
my
tenure,
bedtime.
we're never allowed to take anything out,
Of the
but that
fireworks.
doesn't mean we have to add. Just saying.
So,
I mean, we never,
Let's leave
nobody
some-
wants to
we'll
take
leave that one
anything
in
out.
For now, so leave us to talk about next time.
leave it as 4 then, for right now?
4 or 3, Danny, are you
I'd
proposing?
say, I don't care.
Let's
I know a lot
go
of
with
people do like the fireworks.
Okay.
I think it's a good thing to do, you know, that,
We
I
would
like
still
the-
do it at 3, we just wouldn't do it to
Yeah,
the
we
same
just
degree,
would
or people would have to donate.
How much,
more
what's the
funds.
total show, what do we get in donations?
So,
I don't know if we get
This
1,000?
most recent year, we got $1,675. So the show was like, it actually ended up being around 5,000
Right.
because we got 10% in free fireworks or added to the show
Right.
for prepaying. And then the year before that, we had $2,600 donated. So it
It varies.
really
So I
varies.
say we leave it at 3, and make the community
Yeah.
come up with it.
People who really care about it can add on the difference.
Can donate.
Okay. The Judavine is highlighted, because at the time I sent this out, I didn't have their budget. I actually do now, so I just changed it, and it was literally $18 difference, my guess. So, so I just adjusted that. It was $117,635 when I sent it out to you, and I've got their draft, which is that amount.
Yeah.
So I've put that in there.
Is there budget, is the new budget in here? Is there a new budget?
Nope, we're not covering them tonight, next time. Yep.
We don't want to talk about that.
Lister, your line items is your Lister professional services, that's the assessor. So I took our contract with them and put that amount in.
Yep.
And we
That's good.
spent $4,500 in, for April, May, and June of this past fiscal year. Then this capital general fund I have highlighted. The equipment and road generally goes up 10,000 road, 5,000 equipment. You'll see that when we get to the capital funds. The capital general fund is a little more fluctuated. I put the 122 until we know what we're gonna actually do for that. Some insurance adjustments based on actual numbers. Tax sale expense, I lowered based on what our experience was last year. These two items I have on here, whether or not we want to, so we put 10,000 in the current fiscal year for the Cary Road property. And that's gonna take care of the dumpster and the tires and those items. But sometimes there might be some little ancillary charges, and I didn't know if you wanted to put anything in here for
How
that.
come it doesn't show
How come it didn't
10,000?
show 10,000?
Because it's in capital, 10,000 is in capital, and we've already done like the tires and the dumpster, and that's probably around 4,500, I think, to 5,000.
Let's keep it in the capital.
Okay, that's fine, just, and then the other one is
Is that
the,
okay? I mean, it's that anything we do over there is like a longer term.
Yeah.
I don't know what this issue is right now, it's not,
In the house, if we do anything with there's a couple of trailer bodies and a little bit of other stuff that probably would go in with one more dumpster haul, but with the weather, we're just kind of holding off and probably will wait till spring to do anything more there. We do have the garage as well as the house, and we know those are, I mean, the house is gonna have, there's gonna be some extra costs, and I'll have to be researching that, because we likely have some vermiculite, we may have some asbestos, and we're gonna have to be checking for that before we do that, removal. So there's gonna be some costs associated with that.
It's also probably not urgent, right? The house, at least, it's
We have it secured, Tom
Yeah.
and the crew buttoned it up, and we got everything boarded up, so there's no issue this winter, to be clear.
You've been up around to the higher part of the property, or some, you see about the stuff.
The tires are gone,
Gone.
the tire,
It's all gone.
yeah,
Oh, so you took care of that?
yeah. Tom's crew did.
Oh, okay.
Well, you maybe missed there was a big surprise on the tires. How many there were, right?
Oh, I heard a number, but
Like hundreds, right?
150.
Yeah,
150?
50, 200.
There must be, there's probably there's gotta be 30, 25, 35-gallon propane cylinders down there.
Oh, God, at least.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think
Every
Thomas-
missing gas grill,
The other thing,
propane tank in Hardwick.
Tom's,
Located them.
Tom's crew put up the, for the end, furthest out of town, they put the New Jersey barriers up, so we won't get anybody four-wheeling up in there past the metal gate that's always torn down. So, we're trying to just keep that end of it secure as best we could as well.
On the Stampede end.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I fixed the trail's all good on the other end.
Yeah, and you said that, so they're giving.
Yeah, thanks for doing that, Danny.
So the snow machines will be able to use that.
Everybody should be happy.
Just straightened it out. Go through the yard.
Did we
the
request
whole trailer.
300?
Yeah.
Did we
They
decide
get
the
through a
county
turnaround to camper and they'll be able to go
conservation
right back
commission?
up.
in the current year, this is for 21.
So we'll get to, we'll cover Cary Road, then keep moving here, we'll cover that once we hit capital, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, let's do that.
So it had been brought up about adding a line item for the Conservation Commission. I did speak with them. Judy Bellers offered to come tonight, but since she was at the last meeting and talked about everything they did, I had said to her I didn't feel that it was necessary. I told her I was gonna draft it in, the board could decide, and then if she needed to come to the next meeting.
500 this year?
That is, I had put, right, we have 300 we gave them for this year. This is for 2021, and what they had said was that they're gonna wanna maybe get some speakers and some other stuff, and that's where the $500 would be used.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
So proposed needs to be 500.
Yeah, she just changed it on the
I just changed it on the screen.
Alright.
That's because I just got that new information today, so. Trails and Rec, I don't have their final request, so I did a guesstimate on that. And the County Taxes and Rescue Squad, same thing, but I will get those numbers sometime next month. So before the budget is final, I'll have the exact. So this is what it looks like for now.
Rescue squad, is that, you have that or you just?
I'll have that before like the end of the year.
I didn't hear that.
Right.
Sorry. In a different room over here.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move on to capital equipment. basically we have, schedule we look at, we've been going up 5,000 a year, which has been working. No, there's no police cruiser in 2021, so that's next year. There's not one on the schedule. This kind of just shows what's projected based on replacement schedule and based on what we've been setting aside. It looks like we're in pretty good shape. I know Tom mentioned before that when he plans for these, it does not count trade-in, so we have some cushion there. So as you can see, looking ahead at the projected, we're doing an adequate amount to meet the needs. So I don't know if you have questions about that.
We have a F-150 truck 7.
When do we get that? We ordered that, right?
Yes,
It
that's-
says build date on it is gonna be December 2nd.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Just-in-time supply economy, people.
Really? I ordered a truck, it was here. Just because they were trying to get,
We ordered that in, September?
yeah.
He said 6 to 8 weeks, and
Yeah.
it's almost been 3 months, so.
Wow.
That sounds somewhat less than just in time.
Anyway, we
We'll
can't
be all
fix that.
No, I was just wondering in that though, why are we at 20 for this year and the next time we replace it, we think it's only gonna cost 15?
because originally it was a used truck. I mean, I probably should change that, actually.
Right.
The original plan was a used vehicle, and
We're kinda moving away
we
from that
ended up
generally.
going new. So this I can change because that was
That's
kind
fine.
of what, but I can go ahead and down here and do,
Yeah.
like, adjust that to.
And make the next
How
one
far out
25
was
too.
that? 'Cause that truck should last a while.
Yeah.
Well, we have it on a 5-year replacement schedule. That
Yeah.
seems a little aggressive, but maybe.
Yeah, for that
I mean,
truck.
we usually run them till they die, so.
Right, and that one, I mean, the big
So,
new
I
truck.
mean, I
it
can
should be
always
10 years. It ain't
bump it
gonna
out a
use-
little bit.
Right.
So, yeah, if you
We're
put
not
it in
proud
a
to say
schedule.
7
That's
years.
the aluminum frame too, right?
Huh?
It's got an aluminum frame too.
Little
Bodies.
body frame, but yeah, but, I mean, it's not gonna get a huge amount of
My
money.
point is lasting longer with that body.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
All right, so
I'll tell you, I got enough of them.
So when you do that, yeah, you're gonna look and see what that does to us on the right.
We're still good.
Yeah, we're still good. We got
We're
no
still good,
negatives.
yep.
Yep. Beauty.
So, so
So
that's.
we'll deal with that as it comes up, but right now, she just put it in there as a 7-year replacement schedule.
Well, between this year's trade-in and Curly's truck for next year, I mean, we're gonna be adding another 60,000 to the budget anyways.
Right.
Well, not really adding.
Not adding.
but,
Yes, I know what you're saying, just
Not
not
spend-
taking
not
away
spending.
from
Right.
as
Not
much.
diminishing it by that.
Okay, so then I'm gonna go to roads, capital budget. So this, as you can see, so in 2025, we've been going up $10,000 a year, which appears to be adequate. It does show a small negative 5 years out, but I think we're still okay.
That is,
With what
it's a
we're
just
doing.
slight change from the one that's printed then.
Yep.
It did?
Yeah, the printed one does not show a negative that year.
The printed one goes as low as.
We like ours better.
1946,
Yeah, we'll take this one.
2025.
We'll work with this one.
Huh, I'm not sure, but.
Tommy, where's West Hill? for you?
Road,
Oh, there's a change in this number.
No.
the road total spent is quite a bit different.
She's gonna need some major, ain't she?
Oh, yeah, West Hill.
It shows 117.
Where does that go on here though?
17
It's
and
not
the
on
thing
here, is it?
140.
No, because they're gonna group together.
No, there's no map over
I mean, we can
expenses
probably put it in
2020,
probably
that's
like,
why.
yeah,
Oh. that
depends,
is-
but
what we're
well,
looking-
Main
yes.
Street, West Church.
Okay.
That's why, because
You know,
this, because on the
it's not gonna
printed one,
last
this
till
number was missing
2026.
right here. But,
There's a couple big holes up there already, you know, it's coming.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, so you got, hang on.
Long
You-
ago.
Hang on. You guys are having a sidebar. What's the discussion?
West Hill.
West Hill.
Which one's West Hill?
By Gates.
Oh, by Gates.
Oh, yeah. Yep, that's having troubles. Haven't been up there in a long time.
It's getting
There's
here.
some big problems in
Can we
it.
grind and put it back in?
On the paved part?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, grinding and
I'm just asking.
steep and it
Yeah.
gets a lot of salt. I mean, it's a hill and it's got curves and it's steep. Can I
Right.
say that?
Steep.
and there's some big holes in it already, so I'm just,
Is it on paving schedule for next year?
No,
not on the paving schedule at all.
At all?
no. Because that road was done, God, 14 years ago maybe?
Oh, just like yesterday.
Yeah,
Seemed like it.
close.
So we
That's a
need
pretty
to,
good, what is it, must be 3/4 of a mile to the top of that, isn't it? I don't know, it's hard telling going uphill. Could be half a mile, must be. Because it's pavement almost to Gothier's, right?
It's all the way up to the top,
Right,
right where it flattens off.
Yeah.
Right before that.
yeah.
Gothier.
Gothier just past them.
Yeah,
And,
right, because you do that with a little truck, you turn around and Tom Hayes' yard,
yep,
because you salt that.
Yeah.
It's pavement.
yep.
So is there a way to, kind of switch around? Do we have any flexibility in the proposed paving projects for next summer where we could push off some of those in favor of doing East Hill?
West Hill.
Well, either that or, you know, I don't know, I'm not convinced. I mean, why do we have 305,000 in Center Road? Oh, that's why,
Because we're gonna repave it.
2025. Well, I'm just saying, you know, we build our fund up, that's a huge, it's a big cost when we do that.
Center Road?
Yeah.
It's huge.
300.
Yeah, last time they did a crappy
Shitty
job.
I don't know. I just, you're gonna have problems within a couple of years to even be able to get up West Hill.
So there's a question for Tom, when we look at these paving projects at the bottom, is there anything well, I was thinking the 2021, those Hillside, Woodbury, Prospect, Central, and Park, are those, the condition of those, could we bump those?
So East Hardwick is everything but what they did this year, right?
2 years ago.
That's 2 years already?
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Yep.
Well-
We've been doing good, I think that, I don't know.
Yeah, so we could, if we needed to, we carry a fairly healthy balance.
Well, that's what I was
Until
thinking.
2025.
Until 2025.
And then things go negative there.
So what would you think West Hill would be, just ballpark? I mean, that's,
I'd probably say about 80 grand.
yeah, 100 grand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's that far up there that's paved?
Yeah, it's strong half mile.
I would say.
And all of it's bad. It's breaking up.
Yeah,
not
so
good.
that would put quite a hole in this budget if we,
You're still positive though. You're still positive.
not in 2025.
Yeah.
No.
So we need to.
Maybe,
bump our
Do we
head.
need to do Center Road all at once? I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, it makes sense to me to do it all at
All
once.
at once, yeah.
Yeah.
what if we are only bumping, so what if we went up 15 grand a year instead of 10 grand a year in this, what does that look like?
The papers don't do this as good, just so you know.
What doesn't? Oh, you're doing it on paper, I know. So if we go up 15 grand a year, then you could put in an East Hardwick, a West Hill somewhere. And we're just about, you could put 100 grand in for West Hill or 80 or 100 or whatever, and we're still gonna just about bottom out in 2025 and be okay.
So what year would you put West Hill in, 21 or 22?
That's a question for Tom.
We can do it next year if you wanna,
I mean, I think it needs
if
it.
you wanna spend
Wouldn't you say it needs it?
170,000, what's that?
I think it's gonna need it.
Oh, yeah,
Is that we're focusing on West Hill because you brought it up. Is that our highest need?
I mean, it's getting pretty bad. It just that we try to rotate. And
I know.
when I pave streets, I try to keep them as groups. you know, for the area.
Yeah, right.
It costs less.
It's more
because they're not
efficient.
Jumping from one area to
Right.
the other,
Totally.
so.
Yeah, but if they gotta run a half of a mile, it's, I mean, that's not like they're jumping to do a half a day job, so I can't imagine that would hurt our price.
We
My
don't
point
have
being,
any-
if we're doing it somewhere else.
We don't have anything else over there. Do we do anything else on, it's dirt right to the state highway on Tucker Brook? We don't pave any of that out
Not
there.
there.
It's just the apron. So we don't have any other streets around there anyway.
But my point is, if they do these other streets, I mean, and if we have the same contractor going to do, I'm just assuming about a half of a mile, that's a good job for them. He should
Well,
give us a decent price.
My intent was to say, not to say that we have to do it next year, but we need to do it within the next couple of years, and if it works best next year. If we've got the money in there, the price, let's wait and see what we got for the price, right?
Yeah.
As long as we put the money in there, we can,
So,
we might get
Can
another one of
always
those
move it.
years where the price is really, they're aggressive like they were a couple of years ago.
right.
And
As long
that
as,
helped us a lot, so.
Oh, were we off with our starting point,
Yeah, I
Casey?
went back, yeah. To see, because it was, oh, no, I'm
No,
not.
I think you were okay.
I was
Wondering at
right.
175, yep.
Get 175.
Oh, we can't change that. It would be here, we would change it. We go to 185, that's where yeah. Because we're in 20 now, and we set aside 170, so we'd go up
okay.
15
Yeah.
for 2021, so then I just need to adjust that now.
Get us back out, all right, get us back in the black.
No, we're not gonna be, we're gonna be about where we started with a slight deficit on the Center Road year, but that's out far enough that let's just see what happens.
Right, I mean, we gotta do what we gotta do.
Right, but we're only going negative $8,000.
Right.
Yeah, I
This is
gotta go
a,
back in
you
290.
know,
Right.
we're putting in,
But that's a class 2 road too, so we can get funding for
We will
that.
get a little bit of funding for it to help us with that, and that price is all of it.
yeah,
So we're kinda close, but
that's okay.
we need, that's right, that's perfect.
It's okay, but we still need to go up. This is a change, so this is putting 15 a year instead of 10 into this.
Right,
I mean, increase.
but,
With what Casey shows, sorry, she switched screens.
Oh,
No,
that's
it's
good.
just going back to adjust it in the line items.
Yeah,
let's go, let's quick, move on.
That covers it, right?
yeah.
The way it's plotted now on row 10, that assumes doing it next year, right?
Yep,
I put West Hill on there for 2021, I did
and she bumped it up to
180,000.
180, yep.
Okay.
Is there anything worse than that road, Tom, that we need to think about here, as far as the priorities?
No, we're actually doing pretty good on paving.
Yeah, that's
Just
the
asking.
only one I can think of,
Just
that's the
asking.
one I can think of.
So that's good. I think that looks like a,
Cause you did, Brown Farm's good, we did that not too long ago, right? East Hardwick, we did up the hill,
Yeah,
and other than what you got listed up
that was
there.
all 2 years ago. We did East Hardwick.
right, we took advantage of a low
2 years
price.
ago, we did Greensboro Bend.
Yeah,
And I think 4 years ago, we did Brown Hill.
No, that wasn't that long, was it?
yeah.
I was brand new.
Really?
Yeah. Time flies.
Okay. All right, so next, what are we on next? Buildings?
Capital General. We did roads and equipment, now we're on Capital General. So, the buildings here, we're looking at keeping it the same
Ooh.
for,
Just a comment that they were flat funding all our buildings.
Yes,
But it's because we've got this going that Sherry had that in-kind to
Well, yeah,
make this,
we have-
make this grant.
right, we
Or-
have like, we have like the 16,000 in there, somewhere around there to help with that match, yes.
The leverages for.
Yeah, I suppose they're grant sources to help with
Some.
these,
Yeah,
right? And this is a historic building too,
better to
the memorial
flat fund it
building.
than to change it and lower it.
Well, I wasn't suggesting lowering, I was
No,
just
I'm
pointing
just
out.
saying,
that-
it has been lowered in the past, it's good to just flat fund it if that's what we wanna do.
Okay.
All right,
Does this include all the buildings that the town owns?
probably not.
Except the yellow barn.
Yeah, but we don't wanna, that's gonna pay for itself.
Yeah, that's, but.
We don't want that to be.
Right, so.
But we need to keep track of it somewhere.
Yes, when we go over buildings next meeting, I do have this little thing here, whether or not we want to do anything for that in the interim, so we can talk about that next time.
Okay,
Okay?
And we're gonna be still taking care of it.
right. That's what she's
In the
saying. is
interim-
she's-
In the interim of the construction, you know, we have a very small electric bill just to keep it on and
Right.
And
tiny little
insurance you
things.
just showed.
The insurance,
Yeah.
so, yeah, we just need to think about,
Where that falls.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, okay. All right, so that's buildings. Then we move on to the public.
Can we go up to the top? The memorial building, we know we gotta have some, potentially some roof work done here.
Yeah.
And I heard Danny say going out of one meeting, a couple back, and when are we gonna paint the soffits? So that, I mean,
Yeah.
we may need to go a little bit more on the memorial building line item, because I know, like, this year as an example, some of the things we've done, so we've got some of the glass replaced, did a couple of other things in the building, and, you know, we're chewing up that 5,000 pretty quick.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't
the
go
other
all
thing
that
I've been thinking
far.
about with the cold weather is, I mean, we've got some storms on in places and other places we don't. I don't know what's going on with the roof. I mean, some weatherization work I think would help us. That's gonna be in front. But I think it's gonna help us on our heat bill and just the comfort factor for the employees in the building in the wintertime months and anybody that uses the facility. So that's it. There's my pitch.
Do we have a efficiency, have they come and done the blower test and all
Not
that
since
stuff?
my watch, but I don't know if they.
No,
have-
no, but I think we have.
They
a
have
report.
done one,
Yeah.
right?
It's a
Quite
stone
long
building,
time
I
ago.
know.
I think they did the memorial building, they did the townhouse and the depot, and, yeah, I think they did it. I can look and see what year that was.
You can.
There should be
Alright.
something in the file.
Yeah, and I need to clarify, when I say roof, I'm not implying we gotta replace the slate roof, but I know there's some repairs that we're gonna work in on this next
We
cycle.
need to get a slate person up there
Roof's
and
important.
do
Yeah,
some,
gotta find a
tune
slate
it
person.
up.
This is a specialty, it's hard to find somebody now, believe it or not.
A lot of them in Burlington.
Wiz had a good lead, so
Oh,
I'll
good.
follow up with them in the spring.
Awesome.
Yeah, so what do you think we need from that to make it work?
On the number,
Yeah,
I need to get back to you guys on that as far as, I mean, I gotta see if I can find a blower door test and, you know, if we wanna
Yeah,
try to do some
we'll see.
weatherization improvements, something like that, and maybe more one of these grant discussions where if we bump it just a little bit, and then if we can get some support,
It's a
whether
match.
it's VEIC or something like that.
So we spend out of this account, so it's just kind of, again, it's more of a line item, it's more of a budgeted expense, because you got $5,000 for budgeting, and you're spending money out of that, out of the year.
That's correct.
So the future balance column really is, this isn't really, you know, truly capital, because you're spending it in your year.
Yeah.
Well, in our regular buildings budget, we have repairs and maintenance to the memorial building. I think we have, I can tell you how much we have that we do.
But we must be taking money out of these.
We have
what I'm saying?
$4,500
Yes.
there, so
That's
this is
true.
like,
Yeah, we have a line item for regular annual maintenance.
So what's
correct.
the difference? If
Well,
we're
these-
spending-
Like the day-to-day
Capital?
types thing, yeah, capital, whether
Versus-
it's a significant capital
Versus, like,
improvement,
So maintenance.
Like a new furnace or-
Painting and
But my
stuff.
we have,
point is,
but-
well, we only got $3,500 in the municipal building one, so I know we put
think it's
money in
'cause
that
we did-
every year, but is it because?
We did the furnace recently.
we
That
spent
was capital.
$24,000.
So I would tag on to Danny's comment in that, yeah, we're doing our best to make the, you know, the line item, the one Casey just previously showed,
Right.
work for a given
Pull the weight,
season.
but-
So with what we have accessible here now, it's, I guess what I would need to say to back it up is, you know, we make that work, because as you point out, Danny, the future balance is for these bigger ticket items for the longer haul.
We're not achieving that in this. I wish we could.
I get it.
It's really, it's kind of scary to think that our only capital money we have for this building is $3,530.
Right.
pretty slim.
Well, and
'Cause
that's
that's not-
because we just spent 24,000 on that.
Right, but even,
Sure.
but that's my
Yeah.
point. There's nothing we're gonna do pretty much in a capital way
For a while.
in this building.
Yeah.
for a long time.
So we can let that build up, and you're saying the little things Sean mentioned should come out of the line.
Well, I think they do, the little stuff, but
Yeah.
I guess I'm backing his point is 5,000 a year. That means next year we'll have 8,500, and the year after that we'll have 13,000.
And just to get somebody to paint
And
the
it's gonna
sockets
cost
and tune up the
10,000 to get a
roof.
guy up there
Yeah.
and from a helicopter to paint them.
And I want to also just say, we really, we are trying to, we make do with what we have. It's
Yeah.
not like a frivolous ask. We're really trying to be frugal with the improvements and get, good pricing and make it work. It's an older facility, that's a fact of the matter. It's a 1907
historic.
building.
So there are funds for
1911.
historic buildings that
Thank
aren't available for other buildings that are municipal buildings. So
True.
we can,
But I think Danny's
Look for
point is that
resources
we're
there,
not,
too.
we should be aware that we're not putting very much in
Right.
well,
to this, given,
But all of a
Yeah.
sudden we realize we do need a new slate roof and it's $180,000.
is that it?
I don't, you know what I'm saying? 3,500 is not gonna get us very much.
Well, we buy a lot of plastic for that, so.
I guess my point is, I agree with Sean, is we're,
Yeah,
you know,
So-
we're not,
So Casey just bumped
Remember
us
that for
to
all the buildings.
7,500, which is a small improvement, but
which is probably all we can do, I agree, but that's.
it's
I'm in
something,
favor
it's
of that.
moving in the right
Well,
direction.
you guys know that it ties back to everything else. So, we just went through this with, hey, we got a road that's falling apart, and that's a high ticket cost. We
Yeah.
got to address that. So
Right.
it's obviously a balancing match.
Yeah.
And we make do with what we
Always.
have, to be clear, at the
Yeah.
memorial building.
Right.
If
So I
there's
guess
a
I'm
way to
unclear.
squeeze it, we try to get a little more, that's it. And it's not just to, it's to make sure we are in a position if something big does come up, as the town's done a great job on this capital planning, and we're just trying to maintain that moving forward.
I guess one thing I'm unclear on is that a lot of the things that you mentioned, fixing the roof or whatever, like, seems like replacing the roof would be a capital thing, but putting in a couple new pieces of slate in there would be,
That would
Regular
go in the
maintenance thing.
regular line,
Maintenance.
like the money that we have for repairs and maintenance annually in the regular budget.
Yeah, and I might have mixed
So
up
we-
the descriptions
so maybe
here,
we
so
need
like a
to incorporate
weatherization
that
project, if we did some air seal work, dense packing, that's a capital improvement expense,
capital, okay,
right?
okay.
And that's something that's, possible.
With that amount.
Yeah.
At least something, right? If it's simple as air sealing it to
Right.
help ourselves or a few more
Right.
storms, we can do that.
Right.
Why everyone a parka? That's why people buy their employees winter coats. So they can stay warm at
I'm
night.
not gonna respond to that.
No, we're not going to respond to that.
They might already have winter coats on when they're down there.
Well, I think it's a huge improvement that the boilers are in a position now where they stay running.
Stay running is
Because
good.
this is a big stone building, and no matter what you do for improvements, it's still a big stone building. And
With a lot
we
of
had
glass
nights
here.
without the furnace running, take all day to heat it back up.
Yes.
All right, good job.
Okay,
Whenever
so
we get home.
moving on, we had thrown some money back into road signs here,
Yep.
and everything
We went
else.
past Cary Road, so Cary Road is still listed there, because it
Yep.
came up previous, it is there.
Yep.
That's the
Because
amount
we
we
had
shown.
talked about it being about 30,000 to get the house torn down and all of that.
Yeah, and it may take us a few years to get there,
Yes.
but that's just the way it is.
So-
Or maybe there's a plan that surfaces before then and we find funding and we get it moving, but at least we'll have a little something in there.
So in this section, I just added the 2,000 road signs, and I didn't put anything more into brush cutting if we're gonna put that out into the highway regular.
Yep,
Is this where you would put the crosswalk line item? What's everybody's thoughts
That
on
was in the
that?
road.
that's
sign.
road
It
signs.
is in the road signs?
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, do you wanna do, just to, where it says road signs, could you change it to say road sign, crosswalk sign, or I don't know, something so we remember going forward? Yeah, thank you.
It technically is a road.
It is a road sign, but,
Yeah. So remember why we did it.
yeah,
Signage to cross the
Write
road.
a little paragraph at the right of each one of these items. Really, it would be like that note that Casey had on us when you sent it. It was good. I
yeah,
wonder if it's worth writing those out more,
right, like,
to remember year to year what we were.
this is
talking
really what this is?
about. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, we started to do that on a few of the line items at the comment, so you got a little bit of reference.
We
Yeah,
should say,
I'm
he
saying
said
I
it was
like
very
that.
helpful.
I like that.
Just a note
More
as
would
a,
be-
like a post-it that you can open the cell up and then see the
And
background.
he's saying that that's helpful, and as we move forward, if you keep adding those year after year, that would be good.
So since I sent this out to you, Sean and I talked about whether or not we needed to have a line in here for LVRT improvements because we have that USDA grant that we have to provide match for. So do we want to do something with that here? And then the biggest discussion here is the records restoration and town clerk vault door. You got Alberta's memo on that. And so ultimately, the recording fees went up, but as part of that, we are required to put $4 per page into records restoration. So what did it was about $7,040 based on the pages in fiscal year 19. That's why I have the $7,500 there, because we're gonna have to put whatever that $4 a page times the number of pages is what we have to put into that. And then.
But that's offset with the revenue though.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And then in Alberta's research, it turns out that the vault door would be considered part of that preservation and restoration process, really the preservation. So essentially, we actually would have enough funds if we take what we have in the town clerk vault door, plus the records restoration to actually do the door now.
Tomorrow? Yes, I can put it.
Well,
And we'll never have to speak of it ever
In the
again.
next,
we will have it done before July 1st of next year, Danny.
Let's
And we
do
will
it.
never speak of that door again.
Who gets the old door?
You know what? I would probably offer that to the Historical Society because it's pretty damn cool.
It is.
It actually is really cool.
One of the most talked about doors in Hardwick.
Yeah.
Lately. So,
So I think what we're gonna do, Casey and I talked, is we're just gonna combine those two lines into one. Record restoration and vault door will become one line together.
Because it can be, basically, money can be used for both of
Right,
them.
for both
They're
projects, so
both
we're
the
just
same.
gonna keep going. Yep.
And ultimately, the vault door line will disappear.
Yes.
Because the vault door,
Right.
and it's gonna disappear right
It's
now.
a
And
matter of,
that's the last one in the building that has to be
Ching,
replaced, so
it's
we'll
gone.
never have to do it again.
And so essentially,
so there's a recruitment, police recruitment line item there?
yes, that was formerly the K-9 expense, but became the police recruitment. When the auditors were here, it was recommended that we move that into the regular PD budget, so that was done. There's now a recruitment line in the regular PD budget.
Right.
So it's gonna basically go away
Go
from here.
away, right?
So we do have some funds there, but, it's not gonna continue. There won't be any further.
Make it that clear,
Yep.
yep.
but there's $3,800 sitting there.
I know, so
Let's leave it there till we come to a point where we're like, we need to find some money.
So exactly if we wanted to like get that back out of capital, then when I do my transfers, my quarterly transfers from the general to the capital, I could just not transfer $3,800 one
Yeah.
quarter or something.
Wait,
to sort of get
or-
Sorry, I missed this because I was.
Or we
looking
could
at
put it in the
something.
memorial
Is our
building.
proposed going into this next year, so I'll speak up for Aaron. I can remember the conversations on this where part of this whole concept was it's a sign-on bonus. So I think we want to not lose sight of that right now. The intent is keep that 1,000 going, moving forward.
It's $2,000
But it goes
line
into
item
there.
now.
That's what I'm saying, so I have,
put it in different.
if you go
different spot.
into the
Got
police
shifted.
department.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I was
It's
focused on something
right,
else.
oh, where is it?
Yeah.
Right,
Recruitment.
officer recruitment, it's now
Sorry.
here
Yeah.
instead. And so we won't be allocating further money in the capital category,
it. Sorry.
but we could shift
I
that
think
$3,800
let
to
that
something
hang
else.
out there.
Yeah,
Couldn't
it's
it go
sitting
up
out
to-
there.
Couldn't it, I mean, Sherry's saying like, what if we get a higher bid on like a roofing thing or
Or
whatever?
the garage is in the negative.
We absolutely have, we can definitely just shift it to something else.
Yeah, for now, let's just let it. hang.
Right,
Yeah,
we
I
can
have
leave
a
it there.
conversation point of recruitment and sign-on bonuses. And is that a department decision? Because what's gonna happen when Tommy can't find a truck driver? He wants to sign a bonus.
So Aaron's not here, of course, but, you know, the concept I recall was that he was
I'm
just
not
trying.
arguing against it.
No, I got it. He's trying to figure out some way.
Common.
You know, is this something that,
Right.
just, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're
Truck drivers are almost gonna be as hard to find pretty soon as police officers are.
Understand.
And most truck driving companies now are offering larger than $2,000 sign-on bonuses. Casella is right now, I know that. So,
So
it's just something to
as
think
a-
about as a trend in employment.
Yep,
It
I
could
hear
easily
that,
be-
but I wonder, I have a problem with the sign-on bonuses just because I feel like as a municipality, we're a little bit of a different employer, that we tend to try to keep people for longer. We have a good retirement plan, we have good benefits, and that a sign-on bonus encourages, in an industry, encourages people to hop around more often.
I agree.
Because the way to make more money is to keep changing employers. Especially when like Aaron was quoting some police officer sign-on bonuses that were like 10, 20,000 or something like that, which, like, holy cow, like,
We're
you
not gonna
take
get
that,
there.
you take, but I don't think we should. I don't think
No,
we
I
should
don't
even think about that, because then you're getting people to come in, they stay for a little while, and then Morrisville has a $20,000 bonus, and they go over there, and then they're like, oh, I can come back here.
Yeah.
I don't think we should
It's
play
a
that
bigger-
game.
I mean, okay, we shouldn't talk about it without Aaron.
No, I think we should table this until he's here.
But it's a bigger discussion than just the police department, in my
Right.
opinion. It's a town.
Well, I
Yep.
think the bigger issue we've got to tune into, not just our community, but other similar communities, is this whole issue on how we get somebody into the academy that's interested in working for us.
Right.
That's a bigger nut to crack.
Yes.
So that isn't necessarily this budget issue, but it's something that the state's got to address.
Right.
Because we had somebody that's interested
Aaron
in
should be at the
serving
next
with
meeting
us.
when we have talked about budget.
Yeah.
We should try to get
sorry.
VLCT to help us with that,
Anyway,
right? 'Cause
We
it's
went past LVRT
Been on
here.
for a long time.
Eric, we went past the LVRT line item, so that
I
number
went flying
29.
past it, still there.
Road 29.
Yeah, I know. I don't, I honestly don't know what to do there yet.
And the concept is just even with our grants, you know, we got some match to put on the table. We are obviously getting donations from folks. So we're just trying to make sure we got enough to get as much of this done as we can. That's the end point.
So we also have, yes.
That's all. So it's just to be
Yes,
thinking
so we
about it.
do have somewhere a bike path line.
yeah, but it's only got $1,000, but it's got 5,000 into it, going into it.
And that, in fact,
That would be where we transfer that.
yeah,
Well, be careful because remember, you know, with the improvements we see coming at us as a community, you know, the traffic task force and pedestrian task force are looking into this now, but if the LVRT is active, then we gotta start thinking about, do we need bike lanes downtown? So
Yeah.
be careful you don't just pull it out of that and
Well, that
sign
bike
it.
path,
That bike path
is
was-
specifically for that project.
Okay?
yeah, originally, the bike path, it never, we had, there was a concept of a bike path that never got built.
Well, we're building it.
Well, right, we're building, yes,
Yeah.
we're still, yes,
We've
thank
been
you.
building it for a long time. If we had built it, we could use it for a snowmobile trail to get into the village if we had built it.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, but anyway, that, I would think that would be where the LVRT, because we're still putting money in that.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, sidewalks would be where I would think the pedestrian downtown. And we're not, you're gonna have a bike lane, you're gonna need to have canoe lane. It's not, I don't know where you put a bike lane on Main Street. We can't keep putting things on Main Street, people.
So we talk about that next.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we need a second story on Main Street. Open up another whole line of businesses.
Front porch.
Such a trend. Anyway.
And we wouldn't have to plow underneath either.
Yeah. Tunnel.
Like that.
You wouldn't have to clear your sidewalk, Sherry.
I don't clear.
You good?
What Gerald does.
Let's roll. We got a lot ahead of us still.
Yeah, I'm ready to roll.
So where are we at now? So we done with
I
this
think
section?
that
or we're
was
still
it,
working on
that's
it?
what
Casey, you did a fine job.
Oh, I forgot, no, I missed revenues, sorry, we still have revenues.
Close.
Sorry.
She was right on her time prediction after all.
Okay,
These
so,
percentages are definitely wrong.
okay, so, I made my little note there. So recording fees will still budget accordingly, but just knowing that $4 a page has to go into the records restoration. So I mean, it's still, it's offset there. Greensboro Police contract, you'll notice the large increase, and that's because we had negotiated with them if we hired the additional officer, the cops officer, that it was a higher rate. So we're getting that now that we actually have the officer hired.
Where's that contract at? Last year?
No, 21 and 20, so, yeah, and
This-
June 30th, 2021, so no, I was
This is
just.
the last budget for that
Yes.
contract.
Yes.
So then, I think last time, did we go in the winter before? It seems like we went up to the Greensboro Select Board, didn't you and me and Aaron? Is that right?
Yeah, you'll be
I don't know
there.
why this isn't.
We went up and just checked in with the
John,
Greensboro.
did John come? I don't think John.
No, I don't think he did.
So next fall, so that they can be preparing in their budget cycle, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
next fall.
No,
No, that's.
this
what-
winter.
Now?
This winter.
Was our first meeting.
Right, because I think what
No.
Casey
It
just
ends in
said.
21. Oh, no, that's next year. Holy shit.
No.
That's the budget we're working on right now, right?
Yeah, they're working on their 21 budget.
We gotta get on
Is
that.
the contract for fiscal year or the year?
Fiscal year.
Fiscal.
Check it out, but anyway, we want to give them plenty.
Now.
We went early. I know
We
that.
did. We went like 6 months early or whatever, maybe it was more. And just said, hey, heads up, we're thinking about adding another officer. What do you guys think?
Anyway,
Right, that was the
again,
general thing. But we
figured out-
want to do something like that again, just check in with them. How do you think coverage is going? Are you guys comfortable? Because the contract is only 3 years and it's gonna be coming due before we know it.
Casey, what is room rent?
Use of this facility in the winter months, our policy says we charge $25 each time. And originally, the one you have says 700, but I lowered it to 250, and that's because we did negotiate for the Tai Chi to use the building, and that was gonna be like $75 a month for like 8 months, but now they've discovered it's too chilly in here for them to use the building, so that's why I've since
Perfect.
lowered it to 250. Then you'll notice here the SIU revenue that we won't be participating in is gone. And the governor's highway safety grants as well, because we
Oh,
didn't
wow.
get approved for those this year. They're more competitive, and there's two factors. One is that it used to be that if you got approved for the DUI and ticket portion, you automatically got equipment, which was usually around 6,000. Well, as of this year, the fiscal year that started 10/1, theirs goes 10/1 to 9/30. It's not automatically given, and we applied and didn't get funded this year. And so Aaron anticipates that that may be the case for a little while, because they're really looking at it based on needs data, where the need is, and so he said we shouldn't plan on it. So.
I thought it was interesting, he was talking about this a few meetings back, and was saying, we've been good about this, we've been aggressive about it, we've got what we've got, and so we're doing a good job, and so we are no longer, the neediest group in town, and so we're not getting this money. It's sort of, the good news is we're a success, the bad news is it's costing us money.
Right. Nothing else too exciting here. The ticket revenue, I just based it on the last couple of years, hasn't been anywhere near the 7,500, so I thought it should be a little more realistic.
Yep, that's good. We'll keep moving it towards
Yes.
actual. Yep.
Yeah, so,
Although in a lot of cases, I feel like over the last several years, we've moved things so that they are pretty close to actual.
Yeah.
oh, and actually, did I already change that? Oh, and then Alberta let me know that the current use should actually be this amount. She's just telling me that, so I can change that, and that makes it look a little bit nicer. It's, as of right now,
It's
the
looking
revenues
rosy.
show a larger increase than the budget, which is nice, but this is, of course, a
Early.
early draft. So
Early
we've got a
days.
long ways to go. It's just the very first run.
Yep.
So,
Looks good.
Good deal.
so next time we will do buildings, we will do library, trails, rec, and I think that's it. And then we'll go back to anything. I think that's gonna finish that out.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Casey's done a lot of work here with the department heads, so I
Yeah.
appreciate it. And
Yes, thank you very
provides
much.
Support too, so it's
Good
been,
job.
and Alberta's been providing a lot of input. It's nice just getting the data.
Amanda's been helping too.
I did say that. I said that.
Awful quiet tonight. You miss us?
I miss you very much, Danny.
You asked.
Sounds like my wife.
With a straight face.
Sounded just like my wife. Oh my God, who invited my wife here?
Oh, my goodness. Wow. All right, thank you, everybody, for that trip down budget lane. It was wonderful.
Good job.
Next up is item 2, discussion of parklet locations. And this idea came about because of a discussion that while we did pass a parklet ordinance, we thought that it isn't fair to people to have them go through the whole process of an application if it's in a location that we don't feel is appropriate in the first place. Like, why make them go through that when we could just say, here's our map of places that we think they're appropriate?
How about a couple of you that really feel strongly about this, work on it and get back to us?
Well, also
Because
says,
little things, if we're gonna argue about little things
Yeah.
like having parklet discussion about places where we don't have parking spaces,
Yeah.
then I think we can shorten it up. We have very limited parking spaces in Hardwick. So who's going, we want to decide that? You see what I'm saying? It's like-
No, I don't.
All right,
You
go ahead.
lost me.
I'll wait. I'll catch up. Go ahead.
I don't know, that was my whole thing.
Yeah, like, what are you
That
gonna
was
do?
it.
We only have parking, so many parking spots in Hardwick, so.
Right?
How are we gonna, or who has any input on whose idea is this?
Which?
Of where we should have them and where we shouldn't have them?
I think it's more where, are there places where we are very unlikely to approve a parklet?
Right.
And
I
we
would
should let
never-
applicants know upfront.
I agree with you, but, so and I'm not saying it very well, someone tell me where those are.
I think that's what the maps are
So it might
proposed.
I
help.
couldn't
But it's
see,
kind of hard to tell because it's,
Eric,
I
can I
couldn't
read this
see
back?
that.
Please, go ahead.
Section 3 of the ordinance
Yeah.
says, "The select board shall designate the location and boundaries of space within one or more dedicated streets or highways." Generally, the concept is you're kind of looking at swaths of a street. You know, you're not necessarily going parking space by parking space. You're trying to figure out, is this street gonna work or not? Not, is the space in front of this particular location gonna work? It's really about generally what are the trends in this street. That's kind of the concept, is my perspective.
I would never vote for a parklet on Route 15. I mean, it's just,
Where?
from the edge of the village to the,
Other
that
edge.
whole Main Street, all along Wolcott Street. You're right, there's no parking there. Down Main Street, there is parking, but I would never vote to put people out into those parking places because it takes up, I mean, that's the way I've thought about this, Danny. Where would I vote for it? Well, I wouldn't vote for it there. I wouldn't vote for it along Mill Street. There's little enough parking and the traffic is congested enough that I think
That's
it's,
kind of my point.
pardon me?
That's my point. You just
Exactly.
basically said, no parklet.
Well, I wouldn't vote against the parklet as a concept, but I know where I wouldn't vote for it as an actual reality.
All right. I'm with you guys, I guess. You guys decide what you want to do. Because I think that's, you just listed the only place in town where we have parking spaces. And the whole concept behind a
No,
parklet
they're
is you have a
parking
parking
spaces,
space.
they're parking spaces off on the side
All right,
streets.
so that's fine then.
And if somebody chooses to put in a diner and they want to pick a parklet, we can talk about, something on Lower Cherry Street or something like that. But
There's no parking spots on Lower Cherry Street.
I've seen cars parked there.
so I think the ordinance, I don't, don't know if I see it here or what, but I think when I read it, it said it was for curbside parking, to put something in curbside parking, and it was in the designated, I can't remember, I might have my term slightly wrong, but the designated downtown area, I believe is what it said. So that's what we already have in our ordinance for the area that we're boxed in by and the type of parking. And
So then, does
and I
don't
think
have
that's
a
the
designated
colored in
downtown.
thing on this one, I believe. I remember, I'm not sure if I can read it now, but.
No, we have village center.
We
I
were-
have this colored one if you guys want to see it.
oh, sure. We have an
Yep.
urban compact that was the old
We have
village.
we have a village center.
Or
in
central
Hardwick.
business.
For that designation, but we also
Big
have
now
a,
also in East Hardwick.
but we also have
but
an
not-
urban compact that defines, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not a designated downtown.
Right. So, can I,
Oh, yeah.
Send that way.
So I would put Main Street and Mill Street on the list of, don't even ask. You know, it's just not something, I'm not gonna be here forever, but it's just not one I would ever vote for. And probably not Church Street or West Church Street.
so I feel like we could go down the rabbit hole on this. Danny originally started saying maybe we should have
An ad hoc group.
a group get
Yeah.
together and make a proposal, which might not be a bad idea. I mean, I think that one thing, I don't know, I need to think about it, it would end up being a little silly if we had a parklet ordinance that said that we could have parklets where we have curbside parking spots, and then we made a map that included all those places and said, but you can't have them here. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, but I guess it's, we've got an ordinance that allows for changes in growth within the village. Which I don't see in the foreseeable future, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. But I would never vote for a parklet on Main Street or Mill Street. And, you know,
Right, I guess just as if we're looking at a policy level, if we have an ordinance that
Right.
says you can have a parklet, and then we say, except you can't have one,
well,
then
no, but
that's a little silly.
here on South Main, you got some commercial buildings along there, and that's, yeah, that's a wide enough street
Okay,
that it's a possible that somebody might want to develop
okay,
something
okay.
on South Main.
yep,
And-
okay.
Okay?
So we wouldn't be eliminating all the spots
No.
that are possible in the
No.
ordinance. I see. But maybe people who are interested could take that up and bring back to the group a proposal.
Okay, having opened my mouth, I will, anybody else?
Lucian opened his mouth too, so did Danny.
Well, I think this conundrum is kind of why I voiced opposition and voted against the parklet, because I didn't think there was a good place to have one at that. I mean, I like the
You're right.
concept, but I
Now you
think,
have a partner. But the good thing about democracy, that's only 2 out of 5.
yeah.
And this has gotta be, you know, we keep going down the rabbit hole. You know, for me, the whole intention of an ordinance is to allow people to make a proposal, and that's what we said we were gonna do. So now we're talking about excluding proposals based on someone not wanting it, instead of letting the process play out. If you're never gonna vote for one, then when there's time to vote, then don't vote for it.
well, it says the select board shall designate the
think
location and boundaries. Right in the
I think
ordinance.
she-
I don't care, I don't care. There's no, we are definitely not parklet friendly, so I don't believe anyone's ever gonna try to do one.
But I
at this
think
point.
Sean's point, if we've got this, then we need to let people know,
Yeah.
well, where not to waste their time.
I agree
Well,
with you. And
but-
and if it includes Main Street and Mill Street and Church Street and West Church Street, then we should let them know. I agree with that
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree.
Danny,
But if
what
they're
I,
watching, they know.
well, what I'm taking away from Danny's point though is maybe it is just, we go the route of you review it on each application. I just wasn't sure what the best process was to go from the manager's office perspective here, that's all.
I mean, there's things in there that make it impractical anyway. It can't be any higher than the curb. So for example, you couldn't do it on Main Street because one end's gonna have to be higher or lower than the curb. Because otherwise it's gonna pitch downhill. And your drink's gonna spill.
Well, I think it said it had to be level.
So there's, there's a lot.
Oh, really?
That could
And
be
the
wrong.
curbs aren't level.
There's a lot in this and I don't see it. But I agree, if the board feels that there are places where we're not gonna allow people, and everyone agrees right now, then we should make sure people understand that.
I'm not sure I agree. I'm not sure that I'm ready to agree to an area right now.
You want to table this whole
I
discussion?
do.
Okay.
Let's table it.
I want,
I may also, I'm rereading this, and I may also be wrong about it has to be in the designated area. I thought I read that in here, but I'm not seeing it, so.
We have a designated village center,
I
right?
think the wording does not match up.
Yeah.
But way I've been thinking about this is for looking at the, if you have you got the board approved map from 3/28/2016, which is the designated village center.
Yeah.
What I've been looking at is basically that area that's shaded, which is the commercial zone. If you're a commercial zone, that's gonna allow for the restaurant operations or something like this. Or some business that is gonna have a need to have the parklet is my point.
yeah,
That's how I kind of been interpreting it.
that makes sense.
You guys will be sneaking out. You don't even say bye anymore. Sneak out.
Quiet.
Or a man that gets laughed.
Yeah, how'd that happen?
I don't know. You guys Christmas me so much.
We're happy you stayed with us.
All right, I want to table this. Is anybody opposed?
Just reiterate that we do not have an application available, just so the audience is aware.
Okay.
Because I just thought we needed to hash this out a little bit.
Yeah, I think we still do.
There's, in the ordinance, it does say the application will be available November 1, so just some patience from the, from the customers out there. Look, we gotta get this ironed out a little bit. The receive date is up through April 15th, so what I would project now is we gotta just take a little bit more time to figure out how we're gonna go on this procedurally. You're gonna have adequate time to be able to process an application this winter and spring.
So you can just let people know verbally if something
again?
does come in.
Yeah.
Five or
And it'd be first come,
5 or
first
6
served.
people you'll have in tomorrow.
Yeah, no. First come, first served issue. I mean, that's one change I would have made looking back now. Why the heck are we receiving November 1? It doesn't make sense. We should receive, at town meeting time.
Yeah.
That's something, if there's an adjustment in the future, we'll adjust.
Well, we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
That's what we're trying to
it's a
do.
new thing.
So we're gonna move past it unless somebody wanted to say they were interested in taking it on and... No, Sherry's saying no, she doesn't want
Did
to.
that go into
I
the,
don't want to.
whatever committee, safety, sidewalk, downtown?
We got enough to do.
Sounds good.
I'm more concerned about the existing crosswalks being safe.
Right.
Nice try, though. Almost got it in her bucket.
Since I had to peek out in front of somebody's headlights tonight to get across
Oh,
the
no, it's
street.
bad. This time of year, it's terrible.
It is.
I mean, I worry about being the
Not a
guy
fan of the
that runs
safety
somebody over
clothing.
because I didn't see them. These
Right.
things.
I know.
Dirty and fogged up, windshield, rain, snow, stuff.
Headlights on you.
Wind and rain and snow.
Yeah,
All
the
right.
blue headlights, it's just when you read them.
Okay, we're gonna have to revisit this thing, but for right now, I wanna skip it. So next is, any select board reports?
Reported out.
New business is internet essential, somebody's reporting new business about
I
Comcast.
don't know if I have the letter. Casey's, do you have that Comcast item? I don't think we do.
You wanna just,
Yeah,
Tell us.
the narrative is
I can
that,
tell you what it is.
go ahead.
It's $5.95 a month for Medicaid eligibility, for internet access, and something like $150 for a computer. They're advertising that this is not new, it's been around for a while apparently.
Huh.
So,
good at
Comcast is
it?
making it a little bit more visible out there.
So what do we
Okay.
try to do, just make it?
Just so folks are,
Just
we just want to
aware
make
of
folks
People-
aware that you have an opportunity to get an internet connection for a very good rate
Yeah,
and
if
get
you-
a tablet or a computer for a
Basically,
very
if
good
you
rate.
qualify for other things and other parts, other kinds of assistance, that you may qualify for this, and it may give you a
That was
break.
just public service
on
announcement
Comcast.
basically here.
so they say.
So they say, but you know.
Your
it's
mileage may
Comcast.
vary.
Still Comcast,
Are you
so.
familiar with it, Doug?
No, I've seen it advertised.
Yeah.
AT&T has a similar program, but not in Vermont.
But I read the letter pretty thoroughly, because
Yeah,
I
you
know
passed
a few
it,
people who
wasn't it?
would maybe like to benefit from it, but it's still that, yeah, Comcast rigmarole thing, but it's possible that it's worth checking.
And what I remember from the letter is if you have one child eligible for free lunch.
Yeah, or if you're on Medicaid already, or other programs, it's possible that you could get a lower rate, which is great, because,
Yep.
you know, the standard Comcast amount is stupid.
Ridiculous.
$100 a
stupid
month or something,
expensive.
yeah.
Oh, like 150.
Yeah, like 160, 70, yeah, for TV.
And it just keeps going up unless you pay attention and
All right,
do a little dance.
so, there's our public service announcement.
I got another one for you.
Okay, carry on.
You want old business, or this is new
Yeah,
business?
we carry on,
Whichever.
yes, all of it.
Just a reminder in general that we do have a dog ordinance, and that we do expect people who walk their dogs and let them defecate on streets and in other people's yards, you're supposed to be picking that up. Yeah.
Very
Left
true.
the four-letter word out, but it's even more visible on snow. And it's a drag.
Yeah,
So pick up after your dog, be a responsible pet owner.
yeah.
Or walk it in your own yard only, because I don't want to see it in front of my store.
And we don't want to see it downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crummy.
Yeah.
Or crappy, however you want to put it.
Crappy.
It is.
All right, any other new business, old business? Can I have a motion to go into the first of two executive sessions? The first one is, we added one,
So moved.
I'm with you.
economic development loan update, contract update. Okay, so moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, motion carries. We're heading downstairs.
10 after 9.
I think that ready.
Which is actually 10 after 8.
Oh, that's so much better.